The wind howled down the mountain like a hungry wolf, hurling snow in great gusts against the cabin walls. Inside, Elias Roth sat near the fire, nursing a mug of black coffee. He had spent 5 years alone in this forest, surrounded by trees and silence, away from the wreckage of his past life. The cabin was old but solid. He had built most of it himself: stone, wood, steel, nails. Unlike people, it didn't betray him. A heavy thud against the front door startled him. He froze. Then came a weak knock. Not urgent, almost apologetic. Elias stood slowly, slid the rifle from above the mantel, and cracked the door open. She was there. Or rather, what looked like a ghost of a woman. Snow clung to her lashes, tangled in her long dark hair. Her cheeks were raw red, her hands purple and shaking. She wore only a torn dress, soaked through, and no coat. Her knees buckled as the door opened wider. I didn't mean to bother anyone," she murmured before crumpling forward. He caught her just in time. He laid her on the couch beside the fire, hands working fast, removing the frozen dress, wrapping her in blankets, rubbing warmth into her arms. Her skin was like ice. She moaned softly but didn't wake. Elias hesitated for just a moment before reaching for the emergency space heater and setting it near the couch. Then he added 2 more logs to the fire and knelt beside her again. Who was she? She was young, early 20s maybe. Thin, almost starved looking. There was a faint bruise on her collarbone and a gash across her knuckles. Her lips trembled in sleep. That night, he sat beside her, half dozing in the armchair, until the sky turned silver. She woke screaming. "No, don't!" Elias leapt up, hands raised. "Hey, you're safe. You're inside. You're all right." She stared at him, wide-eyed, shaking. Her shoulders jerked back against the couch cushions, as though expecting a blow. Elias lowered his voice. "I won't hurt you. My name's Elias. This is my home. You collapsed outside my door last night." She looked around slowly, then down at herself. Blankets, firelight, safety. And then she wept. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm not supposed to be here." He pulled a chair close and "Saturday, you're here now. What's your name?" Long pause. Then, "Mira." Took days before Mira could walk more than a few steps. Her feet were frostbitten, her fingers too stiff to hold even a spoon. Elias fed her soup, left clean clothes on the bed, and stayed quiet when she didn't want to talk. But he noticed things. The way she flinched when he raised his voice, even in surprise. The way she avoided mirrors. The scars, old and new. One night, he heard her whispering apologies in her sleep, again and again. She had come from pain. That much was clear. And yet, every day she grew a little stronger. Her eyes stopped darting like a hunted animal's. She asked about the firewood, the trails behind the house, even helped cook once she could grip a spoon again. And one evening, she told him the truth. "I ran," she said, curled up in a blanket near the fire. "From the man who said he loved me. From the life that felt like a cage. I thought I'd rather freeze to death than go back." Elias didn't speak, didn't interrupt. He never hit me at first. Just words. Then isolation. Then fear. By the time it turned violent, I thought maybe I deserved it. "You didn't," Elias said softly. "I walked for 2 days. No food. No direction. Just away. I didn't know anyone lived out here. I didn't know I'd end up at your door." "You're not going back," Elias said. "Not while I'm breathing." Her eyes shimmered. "Why are you kind to me?" He hesitated, then said, "Because someone should have been kind to me when I needed it, and they weren't. Maybe this is me undoing that." Weeks passed. Mira began to smile. She helped Elias chop vegetables, sweep the cabin, hang laundry near the fire. She read his old books, sang quietly while she worked. And Elias found himself laughing again. Just once or twice at first. But it felt like the ice around his heart was cracking, just as surely as spring thawed the world outside. One day, he found her standing on the porch, face lifted toward the sun. "I didn't think I'd live long enough to feel warm again," she said. He stood beside her, watching her hair dance in the breeze. "You're safe here, Mira. You're free." She turned to him. "I believe you," she said. "But safety is never guaranteed." One stormy night, 3 months later, Elias heard an engine on the trail. No one drove up here. He grabbed the rifle. Mira was in the kitchen, drying dishes. She froze as headlights swept across the windows. Then she whispered, "He found me." Elias turned to her. "Go. Stairs. Now." But she didn't move. "He won't stop, Elias. I have to face him." Elias grabbed her hand. "Not alone." The man who stepped out of the black truck was tall, cruel-eyed, and smiling like he owned the world. "Well, well," he said, looking around. "Cute little shack you've got here. Thought you could hide her forever." Elias stepped forward. "She's not hiding. She's healing. You need to leave." The man smirked. "I'm her fiancé. She's mine." "She's not property," Elias said coldly. "And she sure as hell isn't yours." Mira stepped out from behind him then, trembling but upright. "I'm not yours," she said. "Not anymore." The man's eyes darkened. "You think you get a say?" Elias raised the rifle, barrel steady. "You heard her. Get off my land." The man stepped back, gritting his teeth. "This isn't over." "It is if you ever want to walk again," Elias said. He left, and never came back. Elias reported the incident to the local ranger station. They contacted the police. Mira filed a report. Restraining order. Legal action. The law had teeth when you pointed it the right way. And in time, the fear in her eyes faded. That spring, Mira planted flowers around the cabin. By summer, she could hike to the river and back without resting. Her laughter was like birdsong, surprising and sweet. She made Elias shave his beard, cook new recipes, even paint the living room. He hadn't known joy could be so loud. One August morning, she stood by the porch, holding 2 mugs of coffee. "You never asked for anything in return," she said. "I didn't need to," Elias replied. "Well," she said, handing him a mug, "I'm staying." He looked at her, heart thudding. "You sure?" "I'm sure." Years later, when asked how he met his wife, Elias would say, "She showed up at my door in the dead of winter, covered in snow and shame." Then he'd smile and add, "And she melted both."